get this going in the first game of the final 8. We have this excitement. We have a great series for y'all. It is SortOf spawning in on the Ottomans, eastern side of the map. And let's get this back playing. Who else do we have over here?
On the left side of the map, spawning in the corner orange, is the top one Canadian at the moment, according to Red Wall, Puppypaw.
Exactly. Technically, yes, he is the top one Canadian, and he actually just showed it in this tournament so far, but that doesn't mean it will be for the long run, as he still has to prove himself. He beat his brother yesterday, and AoM Magic and Wham playing each other now, and he might have a chance to show he is still the top Canadian.
Yeah, absolutely. I'm expecting really good series coming from Puppypaw and Woman Magic, which I hope we can get a glimpse of that match too eventually. But right now we should focus on this Puppypaw versus SortOf. And like I said during the draft, we are seeing dark aggression with the military school from the Ottomans and the barracks from the Mongols. Oh, they're the influence, and we're about to see a lot of spearmen clash into each other.
Yeah, and what I'm highlighting here is 4 villagers on wood. This lets me know that SortOf, I believe, is going to want to build an additional barracks as well. And there it is.
There it is.
Barracks is already going down. And so the reason for it is Mongols able to double produce out of the barracks. So not only is it already faster producing than a military school, but it's able to double produce with the Uvu production. So you have to match the numbers. You have to do something if you want to actually defend this. Invest into this dark age a little bit. So what happens? It's the military school and the barracks. This will allow you to win the Spearman War over time, as well as having the military school pay off. Remember, if he plays this game extended, the military school is never costing him any resources and continuing to just produce spearmen in the dark age and other military units as he ages up become available to him.
Valdemar, thank you so much for the big raid.
Yeah,
welcome
big
everyone.
Shout out to Vald and his casting yesterday as well.
Yeah, we're at the Arabian Overmasters Final 8 looking at Puppypaw versus SortOf. And we're about to see that fabled Dark Age aggression between Ottomans and Mongols with a bunch of spear from both sides. So get ready, because Puppypaw is looking to bring the pain into SortOf to his gold. So we're about to see the first clash between the first 2 spearmen. Apparently he's not making any more spearmen, which is quite interesting.
Yeah, so I saw Puppypaw not do this in this exact matchup, but kind of do this feigted aggression where you think it's how something's going to play out. All we've been seeing in the recency is, well, as these spearmen from SortOf able to get some extra attacks, huge win for him. But as we've seen kind of this continue to play out, when pros, they have to start assuming some things at times. Spearman clash, it's 4-4, good micro, Spearman pulling back and just kind of trading off. The key is one gonna go down, and how early does it? It looks like Puppypaw trying to focus down on that one low health Spearman, not ever able to take it down and having to fall back. But what he's doing is he's trying to make SortOf over-invest into it, but SortOf, he made his spearman, he sees the number, he scouts it out, and he has not over-invested into the spearman, and will win on the numbers with the 5th spearman coming in from the military school.
Yeah, overall, I think this is a pretty even fight. Oh, Silver Tree coming down. And we still see the spearman clash, but these spearmen need to start running away because the Khan is prowling. And as soon as the Khan arrives, all these spearmen need to get back to base or they'll all die.
Yep, I agreed. Once the Silver Tree finishes, absolutely, the Khan's just going to be able to start attacking while moving. I remember back in the olden days, the Dark Age Khan used to be, I want to say, twice as powerful. I think it used to do 4 damage in the Dark Age and be able to attack while moving. So this used to be a lot more effective, but that was months ago when they made that change. Even still, it is quite annoying, and these pros can utilize that mobility so well.
Yeah, thing is, the can will, the spearman will never touch the can if micro properly, and this is Puppypaw playing, so we can assume he's going to micro properly the can. And just having that extra little tiny DPS, just 2 damage doesn't seem like much, and when you have 6 spearmen versus 6 spearmen, just that extra bit of damage makes a huge difference. And the HF comes through for Puppypaw.
Yep. And this is where it becomes a little bit harder. The con starts to attack while moving and has that little extra bonus damage. And so starting to harass Vil, starting to have this clash. Spearman does get taken down from SortOf side. Puppypaw pulls back a little bit, takes the fight. Again, he has a little bit of an advantage here now, as his are hardened and the opposite side are just Dark Age Spearmen, but this shows that mass sometimes wins over the quality. And Puppypaw just using this as a delay though, as he went up with the Silver Tree, as you mentioned, will start to trade behind this, but will have to invest in the military, and that is going to be mass archers. It's what typically has been the choice from the Mongol players in the Silver Tree kind of game lately, has been massing up those archers, especially against the Ottomans, going to try to kind of equalize those numbers.
Yeah, absolutely. When you're playing with Silver Tree, you need to keep your opponent on the other side of the map, and the best way to do that is with archers and enforcement, which is exactly what Puppypaw is going to do. And the can goes down. GG. Okay.
GG's in the chat. Yep, we're gonna go ahead and go to the next game. GG, but not really. But some people like jokingly say GG about, you know, having the con go down. It actually has a way bigger effect than what people realize, especially at the timing right now. Puppypaw currently is going to have no vision of SortOf's base. SortOf could go into Mass Sipahi, could archers getting easy trades on the spearmen. SortOf's going to have to back away from this or lose all of those spearmen, but SortOf could really transition to anything in this point, and Puppypaw has no idea without the lack of vision. But the good thing for him is with these traders, even though it's only 24 a pop right now, going to be changing as he moves that Silver Tree, but this forces a reaction from SortOf. This is going to make it to where he has to put aggression on this trade, because you can't just go, all right, I'm going to sit back and boom. Trade is too much to deal with.
Oh, this spearman could make a lot of could make a lot of trouble for Puppypaw. This tiny little spearman with 3 health, he can aggro the board whenever the traders are nearby, and those are dead traders if that happens.
Yes, fortunately we don't have the pup update where the boar chases down its aggressors, but the even bigger problem I'm about to mention now is the Silver Tree cannot be placed down unless he gets the movement speed upgrade, which he does not have. He's not going to be able to outrun the spearman, and the spearman can just constantly stay on the Silver Tree, not let it get placed down, and no traders can drop off.
Yeah, that's the bigger issue. Oh, we have a skirmish on the other side, but yeah, that's a really big issue.
And
what? They dropped the gold? What?
Wait.
They dropped off the gold. That's, I don't know how they did it, but...
you know, the person in the chat says it, he can still trade with the packed Silver Tree.
Yeah, I didn't know that.
I did not know that. That's on me. You learn something new every day, even after all of this time. So not as big of a deal as I thought, but he wasn't able to make any traders, so we can still act like it was doing something more. But the big thing with the trade is those first couple early routes is really what kind of helps you elevate, helps you snowball. Puppypaw literally needed 2 drop-offs with, where's his gold? There it is. 1 villager on gold for Castle Age.
Yeah, he just, after those first 2 drop-offs, that must have been like 200 each.
Attack speed arrow goes down. Metter is in play. Archers firing down on the other side. There are a few spearmen easily countered out. Metter being focused. It's so tanky though. And archer numbers still favoring Puppypaw pretty heavily. Forces SortOf back off the gold, and he needs to pump up that production. Still is only on single range, but the double military schools are both on archers as well. Would like to see, and Sipahi's starting to come out. So he's basically going to have that mix and match of everything like we see so much. Problem for Puppypaw now is he doesn't have anything to deal with those few Sipahi that are going to be trickling in, which might not seem like much, but your archers are still firing in the background, making this trade so much more efficient. Metter almost goes down, and still allowing the archers from SortOf to just focus only archers on the other side. Just makes it so much easier, and now chasing down those Mongol archers with some Sipahi and SortOf getting good trades on the backside, but might need to be thinking about trade and worried about trade. However, Puppy, again, only invested in 2 traders, is going with the stepped redoubt.
Yeah, this is SortOf knew he was on the timer because he saw the first couple of traders, and he doesn't see that big of a mass of the Mongols, so he knew the Mongol is probably going up to castle, and he's going full into unit production mode while trying to get enough gold to get to the next stage. But he can't just be in the middle of the road like this. He needs to attack the trade. He's assuming there's a lot of trade. That's why we see him going down south. But we know that there's only like 2 traders. That's all the Puppypaw makes.
Yep.
I've seen it in other games. He only makes 2 traders, and as your opponent, you have to assume there's a lot more, because if Puppypaw has a lot more traders, it's a huge problem. He'll get snowballed to death.
And look at this, just 1 Spearman in the mix for SortOf makes a significant difference. Spearman has not been focused down on the archers by the other side from Puppypaw. Archers still take down those couple horsemen. SortOf has the numbers and just does not have the age advantage. Will start to be in a problem once these double producing Lancers come out, which I see some in queue and potentially moving across the map in just a few seconds.
Yeah, Puppypaw is full into armored unit mode because they counter everything that SortOf has. The archers, Sipahi, the spearman, they all don't do enough damage to get through that armor.
Puppypaw losing his traders, having to fall back off of these deer he was taking, does have an outpost that finishes that upgrade, and SortOf slowly building up a villager lead with the second TCs that he dropped, and still able to again continue the production with triple military school. So this is the point where he should be thinking about Castle Age himself and just rely on the production of the military schools to get him through until then. This is one of the huge benefits for the Ottoman. With most civs, you're like, all right, I got to idle production to get to castle. With Ottomans, they don't technically idle production because they still always have military schools pumping.
Absolutely, and he only needs to produce a couple of spearmen from his barracks to be able to hold the lancers that are incoming. He knows they are incoming, and he's preparing for them. But still, this is rough. 2 lancers can easily take like 4 or 5 spearmen.
And there we go, 2 lancers diving in on 4 spearmen and an archer. They take out a spearman, they take out an archer. The problem is, didn't want to take the fight under a town center with 10 villagers inside it as well. Mehmed Imperial Armory being dropped for SortOf. He's going up to Castle Age, not too delayed of a timing when you think about how much military he has, as well as going with a second TC, but his mass forward has Lancers dive on top of it, doesn't have a significant amount of spearmen there, not to mention there are a few men-at-arms coming into the mix for Puppypaw, and those help significantly in these fights because that, just how you mentioned, has no counter at this current time for SortOf.
Yeah, absolutely. Look at those 2 men-at-arms. Just force that entire army to back away because they just cannot fight it. They don't deal enough damage. This is rough for SortOf. Fortunately, his age-up is about to come through, and after that, he can start producing crossbows from his military schools, and that's gonna help a lot.
Denied off of gold as he hits up to Castle Age, so desperately needs a little bit of gold in the bank, desperately wants to get some of these Castle Age upgrades, get those Castle Age units out, but hasn't gotten, swaps every military school to crossbows, but didn't cancel the current production, so they still have another round of Sipahi, which takes a minute. So I think he should have potentially canceled those, tried to get some more production going on, brings the knights, or brings the lancers and men-at-arms over to some villagers on deer.
Oh, this is terrible for SortOf. Those knights, the lancers need to get out, but those men-at-arms could just stay there and cause so much idle time because gonna take forever
Yeah.
to get cleaned up.
Definitely are paying off in a sense there. Caused a little bit of damage, but no kills, I don't believe. It's two total worker kills for, by Puppypaw compared to 0 for SortOf. Oh, wait, no, two worker kills. It was the 2 traders. So those are actually the first 4 of the game on the backside on the berries. So these are actually the first eco damage that is actually long term, other than just idle time. 2 Lancers getting picked off by the spears now, but definitely have done their job. And Puppypaw has been able to remass back up and keep this pressure on. SortOf doesn't quite have the Castle Age mass units that he needs, but just is always able to keep those numbers solid for him.
In the middle. Oh, it goes. Does it go through? Yeah, it goes through. Drops it to my gun. No, no, I'm crazy. No, I'm crazy.
No, wait.
Wait, it did go through.
No.
Those are Mongols minute arms. Yeah. Pretty sure.
Okay. It was one of those timings where he got the kill and got the men-at-arms at the perfect time. Deer villagers dove in right back on by Lancers, by men-at-arms, as well as sending another men-at-arms and Lancer through on the other side. So Puppypaw doing a great job raiding multiple spots of the eco, making sure that SortOf has to deal with a lot of different spots. Another Wololo goes down, and that one is on those berry villagers that was Puppypaw was trying to raid for and did not go successfully. And Puppypaw's starting to lose more and more of this army, whereas SortOf is still continuing to hold, is still continuing to build up a military mass, and he's raiding on the western side deer. Puppypaw is in trouble this game in my eyes. SortOf is able to just continue to mass up this military numbers, continue to keep it climbing, has free siege. Yes, he's taken a little bit of damage, but he has 2 TC. He still has the mass, and he's getting the economic relics and things like that.
Yeah, after the initial Mongol castle punch that you get because of those free armored units, sort of all he needed to do was survive, and he has survived quite steadily, only losing 9 villagers for being on 2 town centers. That's pretty good. He has some significant eco lead, even though Puppypaw has the step readout. It's not quite enough to compare a bunch of idle villagers though on foot, but this is still quite good for SortOf. He's starting to mass up an army. His army is looking pretty good. He has a free mangonel, so that means Puppypaw can't quite add crossbows in order to fight all the units that SortOf has. So this is looking quite good for SortOf. I wonder what Puppypaw is going to do. Starting to add traders again, but it's a little bit too late for that, I think.
Yeah, he's tried to add a few. This Vil lead's starting to build up, but raids are still coming in back on those deer on the southern side again. Some of those Lancers do get picked off in the middle, and I say some, it looks like about 4, no, only 2 Lancers go down, but 2 are at 1 health with Sapahi chasing, so those are sure to follow, and losing 4 or 5 Lancers is no joke.
Yeah, especially when he's at half the military supply. Puppypaw obviously doesn't know this, so he's doing his best to keep SortOf on his side of the map. But SortOf is starting to realize, wait, how many Lancers have you lost? You can't have that big of an army. And he's just like, okay, time to go. And he's doing just that. He's pulling all his military into one spot, besides a couple extra going to verify that deer if he can raid it again. But the bulk of his army is in the middle, starting to push right for the Mongol horde. This is going to be very tough for Puppypaw to hold.
Yeah, and SortOf's at the point where he breaks off a little side army, which is big enough to do a ton of raiding, a ton of damage, take out outposts, force a reaction from Puppypaw. But then the main army is actually the scarier point. The main army is the one to worry about. There's mangonels, there's a huge mass of different units. Puppypaw did end up getting 3 relics compared to the 2 on the other side. But again, I still don't know if this is going to be enough, as SortOf pressuring down on the eco, still taking a decent fight on the western side near those traders, and villagers headed for the hills, but they still have a ton of military chasing them. Ran into a outpost that should immediately get focused down. 4 more vills going down. Puppypaw is starting to bleed and will not have a secure trade route and will not be able to secure a trade route.
Yeah, this is the biggest issue when you're a Mongol player when the enemy army is right on your face because you don't really have defensive structures. You're out, yeah, you get outposts and basically place them for free, but they're pretty weak outposts. And after the enemy gets on top of your footy, well then you're dead. Which I'm surprised sort of is not doing that. He definitely should be going for the heart right now.
Yeah, he could go for the heart, which is the 2 town centers of Puppypaw, but there's also a little bit of a massive villager count on these on the stepped out gold that's right behind him, and idling Puppy off of gold at this point in time as well would be detrimental, as not able to make these siege units that you need to mass up to deal with mangonels. Big clash going in, spears, crossbows. This is just going to be a wipe, sort of diving the 2 TCs, and it will not matter, even with 25 extra vills inside. Mangonel, all the siege goes down for Puppypaw, and SortOf is taking this game.
Yeah, this is looking terrible for Puppypaw. I don't know if he can hold this. This most likely GG, but you know, Puppypaw has come back from worse situation.
Oof, Mangonel gets a huge shot on the crossbows. It's looking to get another one. Nice dodge by Puppypaw on that one, but just sort of sitting under the 2 TCs, idling 25 villagers, and Puppypaw, he throws in the towel. SortOf takes game number 1.
Very, very well.